Scripture tells us it was 3 o'clock. Jesus called for water. He could hardly speak. A soldier fixed a sponge on a spear and held it up to his lips. It was terribly bitter, but it was enough. He strained to raise his head and look up to heaven. "It is finished," he cried out, and he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. But what is finished? Jesus is saying that his job of saving the world has been completed. A terrible gap had come between God and all of humanity, caused by sin and evil. Sin has had a devastating effect on our relationship with God. God sent his only Son into the world for the very purpose of mending this. Jesus died on the cross to free us from the power of sin, to repair the divide between God and us. The task for which God's Son came to earth has now been completed. That's why we call today Good Friday, because the cross is a powerful sign of God's love for each of us. Because of love, people do extraordinary things for other people. In 1941, in Poland, a Franciscan priest was arrested by the Nazis and sent to a concentration camp in Auschwitz. There he cared for fellow prisoners and celebrated Mass in secret. Eventually, there was an occasion in which some men were chosen to die in reprisal for prisoners' escapes. This priest, Maximilian Kolbe, offered his life to take the place of a young married man with children. He was put to death along with other prisoners to die a slow death through starvation, and he died after 2 weeks of suffering. Jesus himself said, "No one has greater love than this, to lay one's life down for one's friend." Jesus' announcement, "It is finished," is clear and simple. Jesus has completed his task. The reason why he came as a human has been fulfilled. He came so that you and I can have forgiveness and salvation. He came to give us victory over sin. The cross of Christ must remind us of his love. There is no other explanation. Only love is strong enough to lead anyone to freely choose such a profound humiliation, such a horrendous death. By the nature of his sacrifice, there was no personal benefit. All the benefit was ours. So this is all for us. It's one thing to live your life for family, for church, for community, and God when you feel loved and supported by them, when they seem worth the sacrifice, when you get that good feeling by doing it. It is quite another thing when you do not feel support, when there doesn't seem to be a worthwhile cause, when you feel no other reason for doing it except truth and principle. These contrasts, in essence, are what Jesus did in the garden at Gethsemane and on the cross. Just as his sacrifice can only be explained by his love, so our entire existence can only have no other foundation. To be a Christian is to live for him and for others, and not for ourselves. If we really want to express our love for Christ and our brothers and sisters, nothing could be better than a firm and practical pledge today to not allow his blood to be shed in vain. One phrase that I like to carry with me every day, I stole from a Catholic radio show, and I'll share it with you. Be a saint, what else is there? Perhaps we can all commit ourselves to be saints, to be active members of the new evangelization, so that all can know Jesus' love for each and every one of us.